Are canned sardines a health miracle or a hidden threat for seniors? If you're over 60, you've probably heard someone say sardines are great for your bones, heart, or memory. But is that really the whole story? The truth is more complex than most people think. Some older adults say sardines make them feel stronger and more energized. Others report issues like bloating, high blood pressure, or fatigue. So, what's going on? That's what makes this discussion so important. New research is finally giving us clear answers, and some of them may surprise you. Today, we'll break down 5 eye-opening truths about canned sardines and how they affect people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. From powerful nutrients to hidden risks, we'll cover it all, so you can decide whether sardines should be a staple in your diet or something you approach with caution. Stay with me to the end, because the final point might change the way you eat forever. Truth number 1: mercury and contaminant concerns. Let's start with a concern that often gets overlooked: toxins. Sardines are generally considered low in mercury because they're small fish at the bottom of the food chain. But low risk doesn't mean no risk, especially for seniors. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at flushing out toxins. The liver and kidneys lose some of their filtering power. What we could detox easily at 40 can linger much longer at 70, building up slowly and affecting our brain, mood, and energy. In addition to mercury, some sardines may come from polluted waters, especially near industrial areas in parts of Southeast Asia or the Mediterranean. That means they can contain traces of harmful substances like PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, dioxins, microplastics. These contaminants have been linked to hormonal imbalances, inflammation, and long-term health issues. Here's a real-life example. My neighbor Susan, a vibrant woman in her late 70s, started eating sardines daily after reading about their omega-3 benefits. Within a year, she noticed numbness in her fingers, mood swings, and brain fog. Her doctor discovered slightly elevated mercury levels. The culprit? A sardine brand sourced from a high-pollution area. She switched to a cleaner brand, limited her intake to once a week, and added detox-friendly foods to her diet. Her symptoms gradually improved. This isn't to scare you, it's to empower you. Here's what you can do. Look for labels that say, wild-caught and sustainably sourced. Prefer sardines caught off the Pacific coast of the US or Portugal, where waters are better regulated. Rotate your protein sources. Don't rely on sardines daily, mix in salmon, eggs, beans, or nuts to reduce the risk of toxin buildup. Truth number 2: the hidden sodium in sardines. Here's something that's easy to overlook: sardines are often packed with sodium. Salt is used to preserve the fish and boost flavor, but too much of it can be dangerous, especially as we age. After 60, your kidneys don't process sodium as efficiently. Your blood vessels become more sensitive, and excess salt can quickly lead to high blood pressure, water retention, and even heart issues, often without obvious warning signs. Let's break it down. Most canned sardines contain 300 to 400 milligrams of sodium per serving. But here's the thing: most people eat the whole can, sometimes even 2 cans. That could mean up to 800 milligrams of sodium in one sitting, about half your recommended daily limit in just one snack. If you already have high blood pressure or are watching your salt intake, this could quietly push your levels into dangerous territory. What can you do about it? Read the label, choose lower sodium options whenever possible. Rinse the sardines before eating. This can remove some of the salt, especially if they're packed in brine. Choose sardines packed in water or olive oil instead of salty sauces. And again, moderation is key. Sardines can be part of a healthy diet, but not every day and not without balance. When healthy becomes risky, the calcium catch in sardines. Let's talk about a benefit of sardines that's widely praised, and yet, rarely fully understood: calcium. It's true, Canned sardines, especially those with soft, edible bones, are packed with calcium, a key nutrient for keeping bones strong and preventing fractures as we age. For seniors, this sounds like a dream food, tasty, easy to store, and rich in one of the most recommended minerals for older adults. But here's where things get tricky: calcium doesn't work alone. Yes, your body needs it, but only if it comes with the right nutritional partners: magnesium, vitamin D, and vitamin K2. Without these cofactors, calcium can end up where it doesn't belong: your arteries, kidneys, or joints, instead of strengthening your bones. Let's break this down. Calcium is like the building blocks of a strong body. But if you don't have the tools, magnesium, D, and K2, to place those blocks in the right spots, they can get dumped in the wrong places, causing more harm than good. Over time, this can contribute to arterial calcification, a major risk factor for heart disease, stroke, and reduced mobility. This is especially important for people over 70 because calcium absorption declines with age. Kidneys become less efficient at filtering. Many seniors take medications, like antacids, diuretics, or corticosteroids, that interfere with calcium metabolism. So even though sardines offer a healthy amount of calcium, eating them regularly without supporting nutrients can lead to imbalance. Think of it like trying to bake a cake with just flour. Without eggs, butter, or baking powder, it's not going to rise, and might even cause a mess. Calcium is the flour. But without magnesium and vitamin K2, you might be hardening your arteries instead of strengthening your skeleton. Let me share a quick story. Henry, a 75-year-old retired teacher, decided to improve his bone health after a minor fall. He started eating sardines every other day, thinking he was doing the right thing. At his next routine scan, his doctor found signs of arterial calcification. Henry was confused. He hadn't been taking magnesium, got very little sun exposure, so low vitamin D, and didn't even know what vitamin K2 was. His intentions were excellent, but the strategy was missing key ingredients. Once Henry added a magnesium supplement, increased his vitamin D levels, and started including fermented foods, like natto or aged cheese, for vitamin K2, his health markers began to improve, and he cut back on sardines to a few times a week. The takeaway? Sardines can absolutely be part of a healthy diet, but only if they fit into a balanced nutritional picture. Here's how to make sure they work for you, not against you. Pair sardines with magnesium-rich foods like leafy greens, beans, or seeds. Spend some time outdoors for natural vitamin D, or consider a supplement if needed. Include vitamin K2 sources such as fermented foods, grass-fed dairy, or a high-quality supplement. Rotate your meals to avoid calcium overload from a single source. Small, thoughtful changes like these can help you reap the benefits of sardines without increasing your long-term risks. And remember, good nutrition is not just about adding healthy foods, it's about adding them in the right way. If you're still watching this video and learning something new, please comment number 3 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the rest of this important series. Your support helps us keep making content that informs, inspires, and empowers people like you. Ready to keep going? Let's move on to truth number 4, it may surprise you even more. Number 4, omega-3 richness, but only in the right context. Let's talk about one of the biggest reasons sardines get labeled a superfood, omega-3 fatty acids. These tiny fish are loaded with EPA and DHA, two of the most powerful forms of omega-3s known to reduce inflammation, support heart rhythm, and lower triglyceride levels. For older adults, especially those with a history of heart problems, that sounds like a miracle in a can. And in many ways, it is. But here's the part that often gets overlooked. Omega-3s only work when they're in balance with the rest of your diet. Many seniors assume that eating sardines alone will protect their heart. But if the rest of your meals still include processed meats, sugary snacks, or inflammatory oils, those benefits can be drowned out. One good food doesn't cancel out a bad diet. In fact, eating sardines while continuing harmful habits may create a false sense of health. This is what we call the health halo effect, when one good food makes us ignore the rest. And that can be dangerous. There's another twist. Some sardines are packed in omega-6 rich oils like soybean or sunflower oil. These oils can work against the omega-3s, promoting inflammation instead of fighting it. So even though the label says rich in omega-3, the added oil might be canceling out the very benefit you're counting on. I spoke with Harold, a 74-year-old man who began eating sardines every morning because he read they were heart-healthy. But after a few months, he noticed constant bloating, a strange aftertaste, and low energy. Turns out, he was eating sardines packed in soybean oil and pairing them with salty crackers. Once he switched to water-packed sardines and added a side of leafy greens, his digestion improved, and he felt more energized. The difference wasn't just the fish, it was the full picture. So yes, sardines can be powerful allies for your heart. But only when you choose water-packed or olive oil-packed varieties. Avoid brands high in sodium or processed oils. Pair them with fresh, whole foods like greens, legumes, or grains. Watch the rest of your diet and lifestyle for hidden sources of inflammation. Omega-3s are not a cure-all. But when used wisely, they can be a key part of a truly heart-smart lifestyle. Number 5, salt content, the hidden risk in a healthy can. Now let's turn to something that's often underestimated, sodium. One small can of sardines can pack a surprising amount of salt, often 250 to 400 milligrams per serving, and most people eat the whole can in one sitting. That's already a quarter, or more, of the recommended daily sodium limit for seniors, especially those managing high blood pressure or heart conditions. Here's why this matters more as we age. Our blood vessels stiffen, the heart works harder, and our kidneys become less efficient at filtering sodium. This makes older adults more sensitive to salt, even in moderate amounts. When sodium builds up, it causes the body to retain water, which increases blood volume and raises blood pressure. Over time, this puts serious strain on the heart, increasing the risk of stroke, heart failure, and kidney disease. The challenge is that sardines don't taste overly salty. So the sodium content often flies under the radar, especially if you're eating other salty foods during the day. And in today's world, salt is everywhere, in soups, bread, condiments, snacks, even so-called healthy foods. This brings us back to the concept of nostalgic nutrition, the belief that if something was good for our parents or grandparents, it must still be good today. But their diets were far less processed, their lifestyles more active, and their sodium intake significantly lower overall. Adding sardines to a modern, sodium-heavy diet is not the same thing. I'll give you an example. Martha, an 80-year-old retiree, started eating sardines every morning as part of a Mediterranean diet challenge. But at her next checkup, her blood pressure had crept up. After reviewing her meals, her doctor discovered she was eating salted sardines straight from the can, every single day. Once she switched to low-sodium versions and began rinsing them before eating, her numbers started to stabilize. So what's the takeaway? If sardines are a regular part of your routine, choose no salt added or low-sodium brands. Rinse them under cold water before eating. This can reduce sodium by up to 30%. Be mindful of other high-sodium foods in your diet, especially processed items. Talk to your doctor if you're on blood pressure medication, as excess sodium can reduce the medication's effectiveness. Final thought for this section. Sardines can be an incredibly nutrient-dense food, but only when approached with awareness. The benefits are real, but so are the risks if you're not paying attention. If you're still watching this video and learning something new, please comment number 5 below to let us know you're here. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Next, We'll dive into truth number 6, perhaps the most surprising one yet. That means in just a few bites, you could be consuming over 30% of your daily recommended sodium, and that's before accounting for other salty foods like pickles, canned soups, or cold cuts. The problem is, most seniors don't even realize how quickly the numbers add up, especially when the food in question feels natural and clean. Take Harold, for example, a 78-year-old I met at a local senior fitness group. Bright, energetic, and proud of his clean eating habits. No cookies, no soda, no processed snacks. Just real food. But at a routine checkup, his doctor noticed his blood pressure had been steadily rising. Curious, the doctor asked Harold to keep a food journal. And guess what kept showing up almost every day? Sardines. Sometimes packed in olive oil, sometimes in tomato sauce, and almost always eaten with the brine. The sardines weren't the problem, how often and how salty they were, was. Once Harold switched to low-sodium sardines and limited them to twice a week, his blood pressure began to drop, without needing to change his medication. It wasn't about cutting sardines out completely. It was about making a small shift with big rewards. So, if you enjoy sardines, and many people do, just make smarter choices. Look for low-sodium or no-salt added versions. Rinse them under cool water to reduce excess surface salt. Pair them with potassium-rich foods like spinach, avocado, or sweet potatoes to help counterbalance the effects of sodium. Here's a powerful truth. Just because something is healthy in one way doesn't mean it's harmless in every way. It's easy to get caught up in the hype of superfoods, especially when the label screams heart-healthy or natural. But real wellness isn't about taking one good food and overdoing it. It's about balance. And in our later years, balance is more than just nutrition, it's the foundation of independence, clarity, and peace of mind. So next time you reach for that can of sardines, ask yourself. Does this fit into a bigger picture that supports my heart, my energy, and my overall well-being? Because sometimes it's the smallest things, a pinch of salt, a subtle habit, that have the biggest impact on how we feel day to day. Choose with intention, and your body will thank you. Final thoughts. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you paused and really considered how much control you still have over your health? Not in some overwhelming, complicated way, but in the small, everyday choices. What you eat. What you skip. What you trust. That's where your power lives, especially after 60. Our bodies may change, slow down, and grow more sensitive. But our minds grow sharper. Our wisdom deepens. We begin to see things not just for what they appear to be, but for what they truly are. That's why this conversation about sardines, and other health foods, matters more than it seems. It's not just about fish. It's about awareness. About trusting yourself over flashy marketing and nostalgic habits. It's about cutting through the noise and asking, what's really right for me? Being older means being wiser. It means recognizing that even the healthiest sounding food can have drawbacks. That's not fear, it's maturity. And it's not about avoiding everything either. It's about asking better questions. And making choices that reflect who you are now, not who you were 20 years ago. I've lived long enough to know this. No single food, no diagnosis, and no routine defines you. You are the sum of your quiet decisions. Your early morning choices. Your late night reflections. You're not just aging. You're evolving. And your health deserves your full attention. Whether you eat sardines or skip them entirely, the key is this. Stay awake to what your body is telling you. Respect it. Listen. Adjust with care and confidence. Because aging is not the end of growth, it's the beginning of deeper understanding. Every small step you take in the right direction sends a powerful message to yourself. I matter. I deserve to feel strong, clear, and alive. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned and how you plan to use it. Your thoughts matter to us, and reading your reflections gives us energy and inspiration. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful, informative content just like this. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.